Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to TPR Pod. Our guest today is Alex from Lost with Purpose, and our sponsor is KFC today. I hope they sponsor us someday. And
send us free knobs, please.
Yeah, I think more than money, we would accept food.
Yes.
If they just start giving us food for every episode.
Bro, that's why we want the money. So we're gonna buy KFC anyway.
Imagining just like drumsticks raining down your camera right now, like we heard you.
If KFC pays us, we'll just give them back the money for food.
And get directly to me. Delivery.
Yep. But yes, we have Alex. People might remember that once upon a time when people used to travel, so now I'm doing the formal intro. When we used to travel, when the world was a normal place, some people started coming to Pakistan. And we were very curious as to why.
why are they coming?
Why is this happening?
God, wow.
Yeah, and there were lots of vloggers and YouTubers and people, just influencer types. And then Condé Nast put Pakistan as like the top destination to visit. We were more curious as to why this is happening, because
that is probably why the world shut down last year.
China was like, we must make COVID.
We gotta stop it. Pakistan has too much power now.
Yeah, they're too strong. But then one of the people who came is Alex. And Alex was in Pakistan for a while with her very, very well written, detailed as hell, Lost with Purpose blog and Instagram account and everything.
Yep.
And she was here for a while, as with other people. And then there was some huge conference, tourism seminar with the president and everything. We found out much later because we were not invited to any of this. Because I don't even, was the podcast even on? I don't know. But anyway, so we got Alex because, Clubhouse. So are you in Clubhouse, Alex?
No, Clubhouse is only for people with iPhones, I thought.
Right, it is.
Cool
Yeah,
enough.
and you don't have an iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well.
So my motivation one second. My dad's calling. Why is my dad?
Dad, not right now. Doing weird things in my room. Leave me alone.
Recording the podcast, Dad. It's like
just talking to random people on the internet. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I have no cool points anymore. But anyway,
it's not a phase.
On Clubhouse, there was a whole bunch of non-Pakistanis, people from England and the US, and they were very concerned about foreign influencers coming to Pakistan, and words like reclaiming and all of that were thrown out. Specific vloggers were mentioned, not Alex, but that gave me the idea that I was like, oh shit, Alex also came, and she had some slightly different ideas.
Who was mentioned?
Yeah, all right. Spill the tea. Let's go.
Yeah, I think
this
is mostly Eva that they were talking about. I have watched none of her videos, but they seem very well produced. And she was here for a while. Yeah. And then what other people as well. But anyway, Alex is who I wanted to talk to because I remembered her video from back then. So I found her. I reached out to her. It was surprisingly easy to convince her to. I was expecting.
So weird that there's like a real person on the other side. Sometimes I thought it was just like AI bots or some shit.
And she accepted like way too quickly, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "All right."
Not gonna respond to your emails all the time.
So now she's here, and what we're going to talk to her about, apart from her overall travel life, is like why she came to Pakistan, which is our main question, and how she found it. Because one day maybe COVID's going to go away and people's going to come again, maybe. So yeah,
Yeah.
Alex, you have a very detailed section. I almost put this in as an apology in the agenda that look, I know you've mentioned all of this on the website, how you travel, how you make money, all of this. But if someone was to put you on the spot, not me, someone, and say, how would you describe what you do? What would that be?
Well, hi, I'm Alex, and I'm a raw agent sent to
Oh no!
Pakistan. I'm totally kidding. No one take that out of context, please. I'm actually CIA, so it's all
Oh
good.
right, that's fine.
Hi, Alex. I'm a travel blogger. I was traveling the world full time until a global pandemic cut that real short. And shit, what was the question? I'm introducing myself.
Yeah.
I'm from the US. I'm in Belgium right now because my parents are here. I like traveling, and that's why I blog. And I originally came to Pakistan back in 2016. It was May 2016. I was traveling just overland at the time. I'd read that Pakistan was like pretty plausible for a destination. And so I came, and it was May, so it was shit hot. And it was Ramzan, which I didn't realize
Oh, wow.
until it began. And I was like, okay, so I am melting in interior Sindh, and it is 48 degrees, and I've literally never experienced anything remotely close to that heat before, and no one will sell me water because it is Ramzan.
Oh shit!
And it was just so good that I came back again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was thinking that can't be the visit I know about. So 2016, you came twice.
I've come. Okay, this is the part where people actually think I'm an agent. I've probably been like 6 or 7 times now. But yeah, that was the first time. And then I came again in 2017, and then again in 2018, and then twice. No, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I've come several times.
Is 18?
I've come enough times that now when I tell people that, people used to be like, wow, that's so wonderful you came. And now they're like, but why?
So is 18 the visit that we might know about? Is that when the tourism conference happened?
I don't know. Time has become so fluid.
It's probably 18 or 19, right? So it's in the new government, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that was my debut as a vlogger in Pakistan.
So before that, before that, you'd already been to Pakistan a few times before it was
I'm not
cool.
gonna say stuff like that if I've not been there before, man. That'd be obnoxious as
I mean,
God, that'd be awful. Yeah, so I've been several times before that, and I've been blogging since then, and like helping a bunch of travelers come before I ranted in video format.
Okay. So Pakistan, as far as we are aware, was not considered to be prime tourism destinations for a long period of time. So was that like image already, had that already changed when you came for the first time, or were you going into like a dangerous place?
I remember like when I was planning my route, I had a boyfriend at the time, and we were kind of figuring out where we'd travel. And our options after Iran were Turkmenistan, where getting a visa is really difficult. You can't travel independently, or Pakistan. And I was like, let's go through Pakistan. He's like, no, we're definitely going to die. Let's not do that. And it's like, no, I really think we can do it, bro. And then I remember Googling, and I think I ended up on like Wiki Travel or something. And the whole Wiki Travel page, it was probably written by an Indian. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, if you go to Pakistan, like you will die. If you accept food from people, you will be poisoned. You will be bombed. This, that. And I was like, well, shit, man. That sounds pretty bad, actually. But then there was like one forum somewhere where people were like, yeah, actually, I went. It was pretty cool. So you should go because people were really nice and like, it's not that bad. It's like, okay, that sounds perfectly legitimate. I'm going to accept this one positive thing that people said, ignore all of the negativity that other people said. And so, yeah, like obviously, as you guys know, it would not just like automatically result in death if people travel to Pakistan. And then it was around like 2018 where I started to see a change. Before it was like when I first went, it was like, oh my God, you went there and you didn't die. And then the next time I went, it was still, you're there and you're not dead and you went back. That's weird. And then in 2018, that's when people started, like, I would say where I was, and people were like, oh, I've also heard it's actually kind of cool. Yeah, like I've been thinking about visiting. It's like, huh, okay, that's cool. And now it's like the adventure place to be, or was before pandemic.
Yeah.
Even now, I see a lot of adventure travelers going there now because it doesn't have COVID restrictions. So.
Oh yeah, we don't have COVID in Pakistan. It
Yeah, I
never
heard
did.
that COVID ended because the government said it was done. So
Yeah.
thank you, PTI, for that.
I mean,
move.
if anyone could do it, it would be Imran Khan.
It is true.
We love Imran Khan and we love the army.
It's really commendable what he has done for his country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So
when you first went, our exposure to foreign people coming to Pakistan, I mean, I use the term foreign loosely. We've spent more time outside of Pakistan than in, but like content creators or influencers or whatever the politically correct term is, the first exposure I had to them coming was the people are amazing. Everyone gives you everything for free. Everything is so cheap. The food is great, etc. Just on repeat experiences which we did not relate to at all. We're like, why was no one nice to us? And then that just kept growing and growing. And then, like, I'm jumping a bit further ahead, perhaps, but then
jump wherever.
I had an agenda. It's gone.
I'm not looking at your agenda. It's
Yeah.
too much effort. So,
but then,
talk wherever.
yeah. So then there was a different video that you put out. You're like, all right, it's great. I've been here a lot. People are nice. They do give you stuff for free, etc., etc. But there are things that these guys aren't talking about that people need to be aware of if you're coming. So why did you make that video? Like, you could have not made it.
I could have not made it. Part of it was being like pissy. That is totally a thing. So I was invited to that conference. That was like the first time I'd accepted an invite to a conference in Pakistan, because normally that sounds. But they lured us in. They're like, you can possibly speak in front of the prime minister. And it's like, well, that sounds cool. And I really didn't have other context aside from that. This was kind of what they told me. The email showed up in my inbox. I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything right now anyway. So I went, and they're like, you have to prepare a presentation about the role of media, like digital media, in Pakistan's tourism. I was like, okay, I can do that as an internet person. And they're like, yeah, but we also have these very famous other people making presentations, so you have to do something different. I was like, oh, well, I can also do that. And this was around the time when other people were becoming quite famous for like fluttery dupatta kind of shit. And I was starting to see, like, through my blog, I was starting to get more messages from people with like questions that definitely were sparked by these kinds of videos. It was like, hey, so I saw like women motorbiking alone, like all over the place. So it's like cool, right? Or like I saw like foreigners going to Balochistan, so I can do that, right? Or like I saw like these like people saying that they have no problems as a woman in Pakistan, so like it's okay for me, right? It's like, no, not really.
And these are people from outside of Pakistan, obviously.
Yeah, so these are all like foreign travelers, because like YouTube videos are the inspiration, blogs are the information, and so when people have questions, I get the questions, and
right.
Yeah.
And so like I saw this like huge disparity between like people's expectations and what they would actually find. And so I talked about that. I like made a whole presentation of like, here's like the reality, and here's where digital media can actually cause problems later on if you don't set expectations properly. And here's like what we can do to do better about that. They were like, yeah, cool. It's like woke shit. You should definitely come and talk about this. And then when I got to the conference, there was a bunch of shicey shit going on, and they basically like lied to me about why I couldn't speak in my time slot, which was not supposed to be in the conference. It was supposed to be at like a big politicians and business people gathering. And they told me that they didn't have time for me. So I was not able to talk there, but maybe I could talk elsewhere. And then no one would answer when. They're just like, like eventually. And then eventually some assistant like threw me on at the end when everyone was gone. And so, I got to the presentation thing later, and it turns out that I was the only person who was removed from the presentation. Wow. And one of the influencers who was supposed to be speaking there was not present, so they played one of his vlogs, one of his older vlogs. And so understandably, I was slightly pissed about that. And also just like the issue is real. Like I truly believe the country has massive tourism potential, but now is the time to like kind of make sure you're presenting it properly. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I made the presentation anyway. I'm gonna just share it. Also, I don't know how to make vlogs, and this is a good chance to learn how to make vlogs. So I made it. And yeah, like you have seen it. It went viral. It was horrible. I never want to go viral again. I don't enjoy being in the spotlight.
I saw two videos. Just to interrupt in a bit. There's one proper video on your YouTube channel. But before that, I don't know, that has to be you. There was a video, I think with you, sitting at what seemed like a train station or something, like way at night, and just perhaps alone. And you were just talking into the camera. And I was like, it's fine, whatever she's saying. Why is she there alone at night? That was my main concern.
I was sitting at a Daewoo station at a weird time. It was like in the middle of the night.
It was super
Why
late.
was I there? I don't know. It was mad late. I remember, but that was because everyone was like, because I had the bit of talking at the end of the conference, but like all that's decontextualized. And so people just saw that and they're like, typical tabloid drama. They're like, oh, she's just being a jealous bitch. She just like didn't get to like meet enough people and she's upset because she's not gory enough. And also she's a raw agent, CIA agent, or whatever. And I was like, okay.
I think you've learned everything about us.
I've had enough shit.
That's all our things.
I know how it works enough. But so yeah, I made that video to just like explain stuff because I was getting irritated by that. And like journalists were starting to pick up on that and like say nasty shit as well. And I was like, okay, well, I can at least clear this up. And then it ended up not clearing up very much. And also like at some point the azan started and I kept on talking and people were like, so much disrespect. Like she spoke through the azan. So it actually didn't do anything. I think I deleted it off of my channel eventually because I look like I'm on crack. Yeah, so that's gone. But
so then you made the proper one.
No, that was after. Oh no, that was after. Yeah, that was after because no one gave a shit about me before.
Okay.
Video.
Right.
I was just a blogger and people don't read blogs,
so you made that video and everyone was fully on board from day one. They're like, yep, she's right. That's what have happened.
No. Please. No, it's like okay reception. Like half of the people who saw it agreed with me. And then the other half wanted me to die. So like it's fine. It's like pretty good internet stats actually. So
yeah. No, we have a friend who's a big YouTuber, vlogger person, and his main sarcastic phrase, which he is finding his way into more videos nowadays, is positive image, which is like basically all that people want from anyone who is ever talking about Pakistan in the public. It's I mean we sort of understand where it comes from, but being Pakistani, we know that they know that this is not the complete story. So but anyway,
there's a balance to be found. Like positivity is important for sure. It's just there can be like too much positivity at some point. It's not striking a balance. So I've seen a bit.
You've seen like way more than I definitely have. Maybe also more probably than Rizwan has. Coming at it because we approach.
Oh, I've been to Balochistan, bro.
Oh, what? Why?
All right, flex. Why don't you? Fine. Right, cool. I heard it was just desert.
But We approach everything in Pakistan with a healthy level of like disdain because we're like, oh yeah, we're from here,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, the question I'm trying to formulate is you're coming in, for example, as an outsider. What is the impression that Pakistan gives off to like somebody who even, for example, hasn't heard all the bad news, right? Has heard nothing. Maybe knows about India. Uh, what's the vibe that people get when they come to Pakistan as a non-Pakistani person?
It kind of depends on where they go, right? Like
Sure.
the cities are
Yeah.
mad
Yeah.
different from the
Yeah.
mountains. And so a
Yeah.
lot of foreigners do just kind of show up and go straight to the mountains. So the people who go straight to the mountains are just like foaming at the mouth about snow-capped peaks and
Mm.
charming villages and peace and quiet. And they're like, it's beautiful. They just like can't stop spouting about how beautiful it is. And the people who come to like the southern cities, I mean, obviously there's like the busyness of everything and just like the amount of
Yeah.
sensory stimulation that goes on in the cities. But a lot of people are quite impressed by like the diversity of what's on offer, because you can have like all of the forts and the old like the shrines, the mosques, all of these like historical pieces of architecture. You have a bunch of different languages and cultures going on. You have people of all kinds of appearances walking around on the streets, and then all of that you can have, and then you can have mountains and like pristine nature on top of that. So people
Yeah.
are just like overwhelmed by what exists in the country. It's
Mm.
quite unique in that regard. I mean,
Yeah.
you want me to like spout positivity, or you want me to like
No,
touch
no.
on-
If you
No, I mean-
do get too positive, I'll eventually go towards the negative myself.
Stop, be more miserable like us. Like, no, no. So like in general, like most people's impressions are quite good in
Okay.
general about the country. Like from a tourist perspective, it's fucking cool. You can have all kinds of stuff. It's like relatively affordable to travel around in at a certain
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of different kinds of experiences in a relatively small like area. And so people are just impressed by that. And then there's the hospitality also that like obvious foreigners get.
Mm.
Keyword
Is it?
obvious foreigners.
Yeah, I was. We'll come to the obvious foreigner bit too, but like, if you're a super obvious foreigner, is it like are Pakistani people like the average man on the street? Are they like chill, or are they like over the top excited and go out of their way, or is it like a mix?
Um, when I first came, it was definitely like over the top. Like when I first came, I had a boyfriend.
Mm.
He was like a tall, very white, like curly, light brown, blondish hair.
Yeah.
So like he got the instant like, "Ah, you're here, like red carpet, like fawning, like the
Right.
god has arrived kind of treatment.
Mm.
And so it was definitely intense. And then in more recent years, like in rural areas, still it's kind of like that. But in more recent years, like walking around, for example, like the walled city in Lahore, people are a bit more chill. Now they're like, hey, like welcome, hello, but it's not like, hi, oh my God, let's give you chai and feed you
Right.
literally right now. Like now they've calmed down a
Mm.
bit. In other places, it's still like that though. But it's not too intense. People stare a lot, I
Yeah.
suppose, but it's
Yeah.
not as intense as other places. It's mostly like friendly. It can be like weird sometimes if you don't know to expect it. Like the last time I was there, I was with two people from the US, two other people from the US, and one of them was like a tall, white, blue-eyed guy. And this guy on his motorbike with like all of his kids on the back of his bike just drives up next to him and is just like smiling at him. He doesn't say anything. He just like rolls up and is just standing and like grinning massively at him. Just like
Wow.
says nothing. And then eventually I think he asks for a photo or something and then just like drives.
Yeah.
And so there's these kinds of like curious
Mm.
encounters that happen.
Yeah.
But generally it's like quite positive. Like
Okay.
maybe foreign women will have like guys saying creepy shit to them, but
Does that happen like a lot? I would have thought, because it's not that I don't think that Pakistani men can be creepy. It's more that I
but
would have thought they would definitely not try and mess with someone foreign, because they'd be like, we'll definitely get into way more trouble.
Oh, bro,
That
Pakistani
happens.
men have insane confidence, bro. They don't give a shit.
Some do.
Yeah.
You're making jokes, but some do.
Yeah.
Bro, it's a thing. There's like dudes online who manage to get foreign wifeys like super easily. They like go online and like prey on women, and, like convince them to come and marry them. I can go into that more. I'm like sidetracking you, but I couldn't talk about that.
I was noticing on your blog
But-
there was like
Oh.
lots of disclaimers about finding love in Pakistan. I was like, how much does this happen?
But then, like, incidentally,
Yeah.
it's around the time that Alex would have been in Pakistan, like 2018, 19, where a lot of news stories were coming out of Pakistani men marrying foreign women for some reason.
Okay, I
Yeah.
must have missed it.
So our men were very confident during your visits. Yes, they had good reason to believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a thing. I'm an admin for a female travelers group for the country. It's like for foreign and local women, whoever wants to travel, just have like a female specific perspective. And there are a lot of women coming in to be like, hi, I've never left my country, but my fiance in Peshawar, or the areas around, is having me come over to meet his family and stay. And like, I think he wants to marry me and I'm not ready, or like, we're gonna get married, even though it's the first time I've met them. It's like,
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wow.
wait, stop, please stop. Hang on a sec. It was really, there was one, oh no, maybe I shouldn't like share her secrets.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing a name. Okay. There was one girl who was coming and she was literally like, I've never left my country. And I heard that Pakistan has squat toilets and I don't know how to use those. And I'm going to a village outside of Peshawar and I'm staying with my fiance's family and they're going to maybe build me a toilet in their village, but I'm not sure. How do I use a squat toilet? And it's like, oh my God.
How is
It's
this?
it's in the
Fucking had
name.
such a
Yeah, I
bad
mean,
time.
And
The process is in the name. Yeah.
this discussion is so far down the line where you'd be like, how did you get to here? How
And
did
the
all this
worst part
start?
is people were like telling her to take all of her clothes off to use the toilet. That was legitimately an answer from someone. I was just sitting there like, I don't even understand.
Isn't that what you do? I don't know.
Oh yeah, everyone knows that like you just have to like completely disrobe and that's just
Wow.
all the time.
I remember Rizwan had a horror story of a squat toilet from when he was a kid.
Oh yes.
But anyway,
Oh, what?
in a previous,
I tell you my shit, you don't tell me your shit.
yeah, that was a
it
horrible
was
experience.
Yeah, it was.
We
it
don't
was-
have to go
was
into it
horrible,
again.
Yeah.
It was horrible
Yeah.
enough to hear.
It involves a squat toilet and a pair of socks.
A pair of socks.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so all right. So the cities
You'll
seem
tell me one
fine.
day.
Yeah.
The
I will
cities
find
seem
you'll be like
fine.
the toilet and the socks. But yes, okay, the city's toilet socks are
Yeah.
fine.
They're fine. Is the food okay? Did you get sick like a lot?
Oh yeah, duh.
Okay.
Um,
That's still
the-
normal then.
The 2019, I guess, or before, I came back to Pakistan after being in the West. I think I was in the US. And so it's like before I'd gone back to visit people in the US, I'd been like consuming everything in sight. I was at the point where I could like have stuff washed in tap water in Bangladesh, like off the street and be totally fine. I was drinking water that was like yellow and it was cool. And so I came to Pakistan. I was like, yeah, like I can eat anything, whatever. It's all good. I miss this food. It's so good. Let's go. And the last thing that I ate was pink Falooda.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
I think it was like 4 or 5 hours later, and it's like, not good.
Oh my god.
I like volcanoed pink Falooda all over.
Wow. Shit.
We
was so pink.
strangely we had Falooda too in Peshawar together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, man.
That's
But that
a
wasn't
trend
pink.
with you.
That wasn't pink. This was some like
That wasn't pink. Yeah.
The
very
color.
pink shit from Karachi. It
It's-
was
Oh yeah.
It was not
Karachi.
the like tasty Peshwari Falooda. It was like the very pink chemical mystery rose Falooda, and just like it was just as pink coming back up as it was going down.
Yeah.
It was very awkward to explain to the person whose place it was. It's like, hi, I can't go out right now, and I just projectile vomited pink all over you. So that was
Wow.
my food story.
Okay.
The food is mostly fine. It definitely gets people sick. I guided a tour of women in 2019, and we were quite careful with the food until the end when it's like, you're all going home anyway, like, fuck it, let's eat chaat. And so we went out to eat chaat, and everyone's like, this is the best thing ever. And then like 24 hours later, people were like, I'm not okay. So
Okay.
there.
So the lesson here is if you're good with Bangladesh's cleanliness levels, that's not enough for us.
No,
Yeah.
it was enough. It was enough at the start. Just like be gentle with transitions. Also, if you get sick once, you're like not going to get sick again. So.
Oh, really? I don't think we should be saying that, but
No,
sure.
no, because
Disclaimer:
you just,
I am not a medical
Yeah.
professional. I'm just
Yeah.
dumb and eat everything,
Yeah.
and I vomit.
you get
all
sick
the
once, you die, and you don't get sick
That's it.
again.
Yeah.
You can only die once. Once you've died, you're fine forever.
Exactly. It doesn't kill you;
Yeah.
it makes you stronger.
Yeah. One thing I perhaps should have asked at the start, is it easy to come to Pakistan, like from a visa, whatever clearance perspective? Like some of my relatives are American, and there was a time when it was hard for American people to get visas. And like my khala, my aunt is like already like a, off the chain very easily. And she was so pissed. She's like, I'm Pakistani, but you're not, but you're American now. So it was a big thing. So that's still the image I'm carrying like 15 years later.
So before it was harder. You could only get a visa in your home country, which was a problem for people who were traveling already, or if their country didn't have a Pakistani embassy.
Yeah.
The embassies are often not the most helpful organizations. They may or may not answer the phone, and they may or
Yep.
may not answer your questions if
Yep.
you have them. So that made things a bit complicated. And now there's like an e-visa system online,
Okay.
so it's moderately
Yeah.
chiller.
Okay.
You can now apply from theoretically anywhere, but then there's still a lot of not a lot. There's like some arbitrary requirements for like a letter of invitation, which is basically just a way for them to get tour operators more money because you have to pay a tour
Yeah,
operator. It's
yeah.
literally a letter that's like, hi, they can come. It's like, why do we need this? And then now they've switched to only doing online visas, which you can probably imagine the result of taking an previously in-office system and making it all online on a very new website that the Pakistani government built recently. So
Wow.
as
It's
you can
perfect,
imagine,
is what she's saying.
very much perfect. They
Yeah.
did an excellent job, and there might be a handful of travelers who have been waiting for months, heard nothing, and had to cancel flights in recent months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh my
but
God.
they're
Yeah.
just a minority. It's
So when you came through like Iran, how does that go at the border? Did you have a visa before, or were you just
Yeah.
let in?
I got a visa like before I left for my long-term trip. I got a visa beforehand. I just told them I needed it like months in advance. I applied for everything, and then I could just show up in Iran. They're like, "Why are you here?" It's like I wanted to come in. They're like, "Cool, you're not in Iran. Take your hijab off."
Oh,
Yay!
okay.
And then like 5 minutes later, they're like, "No, wait, put it back on." But yeah, so like now it's easier. Like before, I mailed my passport back to my home country once to get a visa, which was a terrifying experience to be without
Wow.
a passport.
Yeah.
Wow.
Luckily,
Yeah.
you don't have to do that anymore. It's definitely easier to come to Pakistan now.
Okay.
The challenges are more like what's in the country now.
Okay. So if you're coming as like a first time like non like regular traveler to Pakistan, what are your like I'm not asking you to like do what you're doing in the group, but like where would you say people can just easily go? Is it just usual Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad?
Yeah, I mean, most people don't even go to Karachi just because it's way far away.
Yeah.
and security in Sindh is intense and problematic, and so it's like the worst place you can go. But yeah, most people like you go
Aw,
to
I
Lahore.
love Karachi. Karachi
Yeah.
is the only place
No,
they should
Karachi
go.
is
Yeah.
cool. Karachi is cool, but like Karachi is fine. The second you leave Karachi, you're gonna have like police follows being there, being like, "What are you doing here, and why, and who
Mm.
invited you, and what are you doing, and what are you taking photos of, and we're gonna come with you everywhere." So like, it's a bitch.
Yeah.
But so most people like the easiest is to go to Lahore, to Islamabad, and then they go to Hunza and like walk in the mountains and then come back.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the easiest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe things are changing in KPK with the new focus on tourism. Maybe not. But in theory, that should be getting easier. But
When you went to like Peshawar and stuff, was that was that like a super different experience for you personally at the time? Or were you used to perhaps, I'm assuming there's a conservative vibe there. I've never been. Maybe there's not. Don't hate me.
well, let me tell
But
you about your country.
yeah.
So let me just like drop all the culture on you. Yeah, it's different. I've been to Afghanistan, so like the
Oh,
cultural overlap is
okay.
there. So it wasn't
Why
my
did you go
first
to
time
Afghanistan?
because I'm
Like,
an agent, bro.
oh, right. Sorry.
I gotta
I
spy on
forgot. I
people.
forgot.
Because I
we,
wanted to
we
see.
keep forgetting it.
I wanted to see. I'm curious, and I like to see things.
Okay.
But so yeah, Peshawar is different. It's actually a place. It's obviously like very culturally intriguing because it's a major stopping point on the Silk Road. Like loads of people have been going through Peshawar for forever. It has all the Buddhist history there, or like in the region, I suppose. So it's intriguing in that regard, but I'm very cautious with recommending it to women just because it's a very different environment. There's like less women on the street.
Mm,
People are more like secluded. There's more like the purdah going on. And so
Yeah.
I used to think that was fine as long as people just know that it's coming. And then I remember meeting some foreign travelers in the country a couple of years ago. And I asked the women, like, hey, like, what did you think? Like, what did you expect? How can I like help to like better prepare women in the future? And they're like, yeah, so like, we just were really disturbed by the lack of women on the street everywhere. And it's like, where have you been? They're like, we were in Hunza. It's like, oh my God. That's not, that's like probably one of the more balanced places. And so that's
Yeah.
when I realized that like it really has an impression on people if they're not women on the street. And so
right.
now I'm more cautious with my recommendations.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But so then was Peshawar itself like apart from if you're prepared for it?
No, it's fine. It's like a beautiful city. Like the
Yeah.
historical places, they're beautiful. Like it's a different culture from the Punjabi culture in the cities that most travelers see for the first time. And yeah, like it's intriguing. They have the best Falooda ever. And yeah, so like it's fine. People are worried that it's dangerous because a lot of the older guidebooks, like they were written back in the days when it was more concerning to be in that region, but now it's relatively safe, so it's
Mm,
okay. And
mm,
before, foreigners weren't allowed to visit, I think, or they could only go if they had an escort. So there's
okay.
like this perception of Peshawar as like off limits danger
Okay.
zone. And a lot of people still go there to be like, I'm gonna find the gun bazaar and like go buy some fucking opium and heroin shit and be like so badass. And it's like, no, it's just like a city now. You can buy
Okay.
like electronics, I guess.
Oh yeah, so many. I think Rizwan and I definitely know a whole bunch of people who bought definitely not legally acquired guitars from
I did. Yeah.
yeah. It's so cheap. It's so cheap. I wonder why. Yeah, it's not you didn't get it
Sometimes
from
things
Fender.
just
Yeah, we
fall
have
across
no
the
idea.
border, you know.
So
So
another thing in your things of like your guide to Pakistan, there was a lot of like talk about how society is split between there's like super ultra poor people in Pakistan, and then there's also like insanely rich people by comparison, and they seem to be living in like different realities and sure, you can't get drugs in Pakistan and alcohol is illegal, etc. But also there's places where there's like everything you could hope for. My favorite thing was uh, cocaine comes from Colombia. So if you get it in Pakistan, it's probably not the right stuff. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, how is
I've
that?
had people offer me coke, and it's like, no, dude. Think
It's a
about what
thing.
could have happened between there and here. Like,
Yeah,
no,
it's
man.
I
I already
didn't.
get cotton in my freaking chana, and you're gonna give me coke and tell me it's fine? Like, I don't think so, bro.
But is it
So,
weird? Like, is it like super up? We because we're on our audience is mostly like Pakistani Twitter people and Pakistani YouTube people, and everyone's super urban. People think that this is what like the all of Pakistan is. We all go to restaurants like that would be like wildly unaffordable for most of the country. No one ever really considers like people say they're middle class and they have like three cars.
yeah,
Um,
I know.
they,
People have done that. They're like, yeah, we're just middle class, and it's like your house is huge, and you
yeah,
each have a car. Like,
yeah.
I've never owned a car. I want a car. Like, shit, man, you guys
Was
are
that
rich by all standards.
was that like a
So,
weird like do you have any like weird experiences? I'm just fishing for
yeah.
stories now.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Because I mean, as a traveler, as an English speaking traveler, especially, like the people who you're going to interact with are going to be like burger people because they
Wow,
speak
she knows
English.
burger.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, Alex,
Look at
Alex
me and I
knows
know
that.
shit. Yeah, but I told you I've seen like some
That
things.
is super legit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But so like these are the people you're going to be interacting with because they speak English, they can
Yeah.
relate to you, they like understand your culture a bit and kind of get where you're coming
Mm,
from,
mm.
and they're just the easiest to communicate with.
Yeah,
And so it can give you a skewed perception, and that's not to say it's like wrong. Like their experiences are legit, but also once you leave the cities you might have a totally different
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
And so where I've seen big problems with it is that, especially with coming with like recommendations about what you can and cannot do in Pakistan. Like you guys know, if you walked outside in like shorts and a t-shirt and like Peshawar, people would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But then I
Yeah.
see online a lot of the times when girls are like, "Hey, like I'm going to Pakistan or whatever Islamic country, honestly, and like, what can I wear? Like, do I have to wear this?" And then like rich Karachiite girls would be like, "No, don't worry about it, man. We walk around in tank tops and shorts all the time." It's like, what?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, where?
Like, even in the mall, people aren't wearing tank tops and shorts, man. Like, what are
Like
you talking about?
Rizwan's a guy and he's gotten into real shit way too many times for wearing shorts and he
yeah.
insists on wearing shorts.
They're
Like,
comfy, man. They're so
yeah, but
comfy.
after the seventh time someone tells you you're gonna get arrested for
Yeah.
some imaginary crime, you'd be like, maybe
Yeah.
don't wear
It's,
shorts.
yeah, it's like maybe I'll just wear like
Yeah.
shorts. So yeah, so like these people have like a very like specific view of the country, and so like in their circles, yeah, you can like roll around in like tank tops and shorts and be fine, as long as you're just going from like house to house or
Mm.
party to party and using your driver everywhere. Like even in my own experience, I was with people in Karachi and they were like, "Hey, like we're going out, like let's go to a party," and I was like, "Well, what do I wear?" They're like, "Yeah, just like wear whatever." And they were like laughing at me because literally all I had in my backpack was like shalwar kameez. And they were like, "God, even the foreigners wearing our clothes. We don't even wear those clothes, bro." And I was like, "Okay." And they put on like little dresses and like shorts and stuff. And I was like, "Are you sure we can wear that?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, no, it's totally fine. It's normal in Karachi." And then we stopped at a gas station to like buy cigarettes or like they needed to get something. And then suddenly all the girls were like, "Can I use your dupatta? I need your dupatta. Give it to me. I need to like cover up." It's like, you were the one who told me not to wear these clothes
Yeah.
like 2 seconds ago, and now you're all like trying to wrap up and cover and run away.
Mm.
And it's like, oh my god. And so it's like this kind of discrepancy that can cause a lot of problems. Because like also at this point I know that it exists, so like I know how to filter the recommendations that I get. But
Yeah.
people who don't know, like a first time visitor, if they're like, oh shit, I'm coming in summer, can I wear like tank tops? And people are like, yeah, sure, go for it. And they don't
Oh
know
my
that there
God.
is that disparity. Yeah, so you can imagine they show up and they're like rolling around in like old Lahore and tank tops, and everyone's just like, what is happening right now? Like, no.
Yeah.
Well, like apart from the misinformation that might be like spreading, like you can wear whatever you want. Do you think still this is part of the experience that tourists should have, like a rich experience of Pakistan too? Because see, my most of my interactions with foreigners in Lahore has been at weddings, and they all fly in groups, and that's the life that they get for 2 weeks in Lahore. It's just huge houses and armored cars and like security details and all of that. Uh, I don't know. Maybe should we sell that as a tourism point too?
Yo, you can come around with an escort for
Yeah.
weeks, to be fair. People do like that. People actually, like some people like escorts because they feel important when they have them. I think
Sure.
they
Yeah.
suck, but that's another story.
Mm.
I feel like it's okay if that's what people want, then sure. And I think it's like a good thing, probably like you're alluding to, that people have this like different view of the country. Like it's cool that
Yeah.
you can go and also sit and like camp out with your MacBook and like drink shit expensive coffee and like listen to extremely white like gossipy ladies talking about like the last 4 iPhones that they purchased. And so like it's good to like have this mixture of experiences, like do whatever you like. Just make sure that your expectations are set, because you can have all that, but then the second you have to like, or the second you're out on like a day trip into rural Punjab or Sindh and you have to go to the toilet, and then the only option is like
Take all your clothes
a
off.
truck.
Take all your clothes off.
Yeah.
Take all your clothes
Yeah.
off, go to the nearest dhaba and be like, do you have a Western flush toilet? And they'll just
Yeah. People are gonna jump into a well to avoid the awkwardness of that situation. They're like, I just know this is just way too much.
Oh,
Mm.
man.
Is
Like,
it
yeah.
easy to get around, like for like a non-Urdu speaking person going from city to city? Airport, sure,
Yeah.
everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
But Daewoo's too, I guess. But what about within the city? Well, there's Kareem now.
Yeah, Kareem makes it super easy. You don't have to haggle with like rickshaw people anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Kareem rickshaw, is it like both of them do rickshaws, right? Like
Yeah.
Kareem and Uber
Yeah.
rickshaws are actually really difficult as a foreigner, because you always get the driver calling you to see if he really feels like driving there, and then he'll just be like saying stuff to you and you're like, I don't know, man, location. He's like, yeah, but where are you? Like, why should I like you call him? And he's like driving in the other
Yeah.
direction and you're like, cancel, and he's like, no, like I don't speak English, too bad. And then you get charged. So I actually don't use rickshaw. Kareem.
You said you used the
but-
bikes.
Yeah, the bikes are awesome. I really like
Wow.
the bikes.
I would I don't know if I'm such a burger. I cannot tell you the last time I was on a motorcycle in my life. In my life. Like not even in Pakistan, outside of Pakistan. Just ever. Once.
To be fair,
I
they're more
remember.
like common in Pakistan, so we can forgive
Sure.
you for that.
Yeah.
No, the bikes are chill. I know that it's like easy for me as a foreign woman to be like, bikes are dope, everyone should take them. But also I'm like a backpacker, so the cheaper it can be, the better it is. And bikes
Yeah.
are like 1/5 of the cost of a car. So I like bikes.
Yeah.
But I've had like some of the bike drivers, when they see it's a girl, they're like, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna like keep as much distance as humanly possible
Right.
between you and me, and this is awkward. I like hold on really tight on the back so I don't pop off, and don't like accidentally touch him either. So it gets awkward sometimes, but it's cheap.
Yeah.
Getting around in general is not that bad because a lot of people
Okay.
speak English.
Okay.
Like compared to other countries, so many people speak English in Pakistan, because I heard that like the British came and conquered everything at some point, something like that. But it's mad easy to get around because of that. And like the hard part is finding what you need. Many
Yeah.
people will help you, but many people do not know what you're actually looking for, but they will tell you that they know what you're looking for and then take you somewhere completely different. So like finding buses, if it's not like organized by Daewoo or Fessel Movers or whomever, then it's like, okay, shit, where do I go? Like the bus station in Pindi
Yeah.
is like the most confusing like Mensa puzzle ever. Like,
Shout
they're
out,
like, yeah,
shout
just go
out
to
to
the
Pindi.
yeah, just like go to the station. It's like, but which station? There's like 12 stations and they're all like spread out and there's a million buses and a million people and like I'm going to get run over by a bus if I stand here looking dumb any longer. And like finding like the little local vans between villages can be hard because travelers are always trying to go to random places that people don't want to be going to, and then
Yeah.
finding them is hard. But
Okay.
language is rarely a problem.
Okay.
Language is actually
That's
mad
good.
easy.
Yeah, because my whole idea was, I mean, we would find things like, sure, infuriating, but also easy at a much greater level just because we're from there. So we don't even know if we can, like, people ask me, I live in Ireland and my wife works in like the design sector here. And people are like, oh yeah, Pakistan, yeah, we're thinking of going. And our knee jerk reaction is just don't go there. She's
Why would you
from,
do such a thing?
yeah, she's from Islamabad. So now we're doing, yeah, go to Islamabad, then go to the north, and then leave. Yeah. Is that like not something we should be saying? Or we should, okay, you can go to Lahore as well.
I mean, Lahore is like, it has the like southern cities vibes. It's like got all of the Mughal shit and all of the like things older than that going on in Lahore. So Lahore is like, I think for a tourist, the most intriguing city. It would be like Lahore or Peshawar, but Peshawar is not as like big or developed as Lahore. So
Okay,
Lahore is
okay.
more forgiving than
Mm-hmm.
Peshawar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and yeah, Islamabad is like the least interesting place a tourist
Yes.
can go. So lame. I'm sorry. I'm learning to like it. There's a lot of like nice things in the area if you have your own transport, but just like from a tourist perspective, Islamabad's a drag,
Yeah.
man.
No,
It's
the
like
first thing I wrote in
posh,
the
expensive
agenda,
shit.
the first thing I wrote in the agenda was that I'm from Karachi, so I'm disappointed that that's not your favorite place. But fine, there's ones from Lahore. I'm glad you like it. But we all agree that Islamabad is boring.
Islamabad is lame. It's organized. Its numbering
Yeah.
system is nice, I guess.
Yeah.
But just no one is coming to Pakistan to go sit in a cafe and be posh. You can do that literally everywhere in the world, basically.
On that, I have a question on that point. Like on all your trips, most of the time, were you having just Pakistani food, or were you looking for
Yeah.
your Americanized food too?
I really like Pakistani food, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. I know that it takes like 10 years off of my lifespan, but it's really good. So I'm okay with it. There's been, when I'm really looking for different food, it's usually because I haven't had vegetables that weren't like oiled into oblivion in like weeks. And so I'll go out and be like, I need salad. How do I find salad that doesn't have like mayonnaise or corn in it? And then
The traditional Pizza Hut salad. Yes,
Yeah.
I know what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also it's super expensive, so I don't do that too often. But yeah, like I look for salad and I look for coffee, and those are like my foreign indulgences. And then anything beyond that is like someone I'm with wants to go out to dinner and they don't want to eat Pakistani food, but like
Yeah.
I could probably live off of like samosa for forever. I could eat chaat literally every single day of my life and be
Wow.
fine, and also not die. It's like actually healthy. It's like the only
Yeah.
healthy food that you can get on
Healthy.
this.
I mean, I don't know what healthy means now if we're calling chaat healthy, but sure, comparatively.
Yeah, it's like chickpeas and like vegetables and like yogurt. What's wrong with that? And then like fried crispy stuff is what makes it tasty, but it's a little bit of stuff.
Sure. That's a curious thing though. You've been traveling for a long while, so you're used to eating non-American things.
Yeah.
Was that like when you started traveling, was that something that you like were open to, or was that something was it hard for you to get over? Because my only experience is I went to China for a while, for like 3 weeks, and I had to. I'm like, great. I'm a citizen of the world. I eat everything, and Chinese food is fine, and I'm eating it. But like 2 weeks in, I was like, I have to go to Pizza Hut because I have to detox. There's a KFC. Yeah, I have to get
Why
like
Pizza
something.
Hut? KFC is okay, but Pizza Hut, like, no, man.
Pizza Hut in China is
Ugh.
super amazing. It's like, you know,
Pizza,
when,
all the American stuff is better outside of America. So like I'm
yeah,
saying ew Pizza Hut because I grew up in the US and like
right.
Pizza Hut is punishment to me. But like outside of the US, it's legit. McDonald's is fancy.
It is so
Outside the
good.
US, I've gone to McDonald's to get chicken nuggets a few times.
Yeah,
Possibly when under the influence of things, but like they're mad good overseas. No, it's not that hard, but I also am not like super attached to American food.
Okay.
And also like I like spices, so
Okay.
it's cool. It's all good. I know many people really don't like spices, and then I
Yeah.
laugh because
yeah.
people will be like, "What can I eat in Pakistan that doesn't have any spices in it?" It's like, yeah, I did nothing, props.
Because even
You can
the
have
yogurt,
coffee.
even the
Even the
yogurt has
yogurt.
spices.
No. I do hate that when they put like shitloads of cumin on the yogurt. It's like, but why? I
Yeah.
can't get to the yogurt now. I don't need a whole tablespoon of cumin on my yogurt, just like a sprinkle. Just like a
There was this random stat that said that the world consumes 9 million tons of spices a year, out of which 7 million come from India. And out of that 7 million, they only export like 1 million. So 75% of the world's spices are consumed in India. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh
yeah,
my
we're
God.
next to them.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yeah.
it's like basically similar situation. A little bit less as you go further west, I guess, but still. So it-
Cliched
it's a-
question would be, what are your, like, if I say top 5 Pakistani things to eat of any category, what comes to mind and
So
why?
like, are the different Pizza Hut pizzas separate things or
Everything,
one
anything
thing?
in, but just
Okay,
has to be
so
in and
like
of Pakistan.
just like 1 through 5 on Pizza Hut's menu, probably. But like aside from that,
Yeah, sure.
favorite food? No Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut. Sorry, I know you like it, but I. So favorite foods. Kulfi Falooda is like the greatest food on the face of the earth, and I would literally kill puppies right now if I could have like a really
God.
legit bowl of kulfi right now.
Yeah,
I have
we've-
not found it in Belgium. I've tried very hard and have not.
It's come up 7 times, so I'm not surprised. I do know someone in Belgium who's Pakistani. I'll ask her if she has any
Okay.
recommendations.
Just be like, she's gonna be like, no, it's all depressing here, as it is. But there's that. Chaat, I already said that I really like, but like really legit samosa chaat is really good. And I know that was like the least healthy one I could have picked, which is why it tastes so good.
Yeah. Respect.
I really like chapli kebab.
Okay.
I actually
Oh, yeah.
became vegetarian in the pandemic, and I've literally been like thinking like, so if I were there, like, would I eat them again? Like, probably, yeah, definitely. And I don't even eat red meat when I wasn't vegetarian, and still I ate chapli kebabs, which is so
Yeah.
this is like really basic, but I really like lacha paratha and andan. Like, it's so simple, but like really good. Lacha paratha is so good, and it's so crispy and
it's so
swirly. It looks
good.
so pretty.
one
and
you
it's
just
so
ate.
Instagrammable. I know you just ate like
You just
bowl.
ate. Stop being this excited.
If only I had parathas
Yeah.
to go with my chicken, it'd be so good. You make that a thing. That'd be mad.
I've actually had a lot of parathe with KFC
Wow.
when I was
Actually?
younger.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's 20 years off your life.
That like we're talking like sandwich or like just for grabbing or just like bites of each. You could definitely make like a desi KFC sandwich thing. I would buy that. I would be first in line.
Yeah.
You should sell
All
that
of
to
that.
the US
All-
also. They would totally eat that. Be like fried bread with fried chicken, and Americans would be like, yo, you're a genius. Give the man a Nobel Prize. Oh,
Yeah, that's our version of the donut sandwich. So
yeah, I forgot this already exists in the US.
You still have one more to go.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Wait, shit. What have I said already? Oh, I really like malai boti. They're freaky. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they make it so creamy, but it's good.
Yeah,
whatever they do, that shit's good.
We're not sure either. So, but you were vegetarian now.
now.
Is it
Yeah.
easy, like with your extensive experience? Pakistan doesn't have a lot of vegetarians, even fewer vegans. We actively discourage it.
Yeah.
But but the fewer vegetarian, and you go to Pakistan now, do you think you'll have enough food options available? Like India definitely would.
Yeah, India's mad easy as a
Yeah.
vegetarian. So like even before this, I didn't really eat so much meat. I've been
Okay.
trying to like reduce my meat intake unless
Sure.
it's something really, really good, like
Sure.
chapli
Chapli
kebabs,
kebabs.
then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I've definitely had a lot of times where it's like, okay, so do you have sabzi? And they're like, we have gosht. It's like, yeah, but do you have sabzi? It's like, yeah, but we have gosht.
But
It's like, yeah,
gosht.
but like, do you have like sabzi, like gosht ke baghair, however you say that? Like, is that a thing? They're like,
That's
no.
right. Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, do you have dal? And they're like, yeah, we have dal. And then it comes out and there's like chunks of mutton floating in the dal. Oh my God, okay, fine, sure, yes, okay.
Hmm.
So it'll be tricky. I had a vegetarian woman on my tour and like she basically just ate like dal chawal every day.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I mean, that is
there's
it is
like
great.
there's good stuff. Like there's vegetables in most places eventually. Once you get over the like why are you just eating vegetables? They usually have something. And then in the north, it's quite easy to have like local vegetables.
Mm.
But in people's houses it's okay. It's just like as a traveler, you're eating on the street and like unless you're eating
Yeah.
just samosa all day. Eventually they're like, yeah, but you have to order kebabs or else why am I serving you if you're not eating fucking kebabs? I don't want to bring you dal. This is a waste of my
But
time.
great segue. How often were people dragging you into their houses to feed you? Is that a thing? Because everyone said that, and like our parents wouldn't have us in their house if they could help it. So like,
Yeah.
You say that, but like you don't show up, and then every single like auntie and uncle is like, you have to come to our house and you have to sit and shut up and like let us feed you
Yeah,
and tell us how
yeah,
it is in like
yeah.
Ireland or whatever.
Yeah, especially since I
Totally.
left, it's a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like tell us how good your life is overseas and eat all of this shit, but then actually tell us life is
Yeah.
better. Yeah, so like it's definitely a thing. People are really nice. They'll be like, hey, like why are you here? Come eat in my house. And it's like, okay.
Just like complete strangers.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh.
Now it doesn't happen as often. When I was traveling with the white guy, it happened like all the time. It was like literally like, what are you doing? Let's go. And now they're like, who are you? And like, are you from Islamabad? Why is your Urdu so shitty? And it's like,
Well, that is why. Yeah,
I love
that's
this so
exactly
much.
why.
I had it at I was stopped at a checkpoint. I was driving my bike through SWAT last time I was there, and the guy stopped me at the
Yeah.
checkpoint. He was like, "Aap kahan se?" And I was like, "America." And he's like, "Okay." Huh? It's like, "Yeah, I'm from America." And he's like, "So you're from Karachi?" And it's like, "No." Islamabad? It's like, no, dude. It's like, okay, just go away. So
Yeah.
like people assume I'm just like a burger. Like yourselves. They
It's
assume
great,
that I'm
yeah,
a burger and
yeah.
just like can't speak Urdu to save my life. And so I get less dinner invites because of that now.
Okay. Okay.
But no,
Aw.
like people are still nice. Like and they find out I'm American and then
Yeah.
they're like, get your game face on, like let's be hospitable and welcome the guests, etc. etc. So
Okay.
it happens, just not as often, but it's definitely a thing. I see it happening also to people like in the north. If tourists are nice and not moving in like a huge pack, I think that is
Right.
also a thing with Pakistani tourists because they're like, we never get invited to anything, but also like no one is going to invite a group of 20 boys to come into their house. No one's going to
Yeah.
invite a group of 20 foreigners into their house because there's 20 of them and no one
Yeah,
wants to give
yeah.
chai to 20 different people.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
like local travelers move in groups, but like foreigners are often solo or as a couple, and so it's way easier to invite people in. But like I've
Sure.
seen Pakistani travelers be invited in and like taken around also when it's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
them or just a few people.
Right. Yeah. No, a friend of mine went to is it Hunza or Gilgit? One of the two. And he was also of the thing that he was then invited, him and his wife. He's Pakistani. And they were like, yeah, it's their thing was also like people just come here and then they just trash our town just for the tourism, like wild groups of people, and then they just leave. Like no one cares about like the culture or the history or no one's just people just don't even not litter. So I guess that does make sense.
Yeah. I
And
mean, like even local influencers, like they share sometimes because they go to places with like just their own bike or whatever sometimes. And they also have stories of like, yeah, we showed up and needed to get here and had no way to get here. And then this dude just like gave us a ride. And then we went to his house and ate all the food and did all the things.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like circumstantial and just the big groups are really rude. Like you've probably seen it. People can be really obnoxious. And like really entitled. And so like if you wouldn't invite those people in either. So
yeah. Do people, I've seen like recently I saw people like Mark Weens and Food Ranger and them, they're in Pakistan. They're always with like a tour company. Is that something that would be necessary? Maybe they chose to, but would it, is it still like if you're a first time traveler, is that still necessary? Or could you figure things out on your own?
it depends on your level of comfort that you
Okay.
want. I think it's totally possible to do things on your own, but it's definitely much easier to have someone do it for you because just like
Yeah.
booking hotels aren't online in a lot of
No, they're
places.
not. Yeah.
You have to call, like you have to call people and they may or may not speak English, and then you need a room,
Yeah.
and then if you book a room they might give your room away by the time you get there. If you book too far in advance they'll be like, yeah, but you weren't here 5 minutes later, so screw that. Finding transport's hard, like just navigating streets when a bunch of people are like trying to give you shit or get you shit or whatever is a bit tricky. And just knowing what's there, just because there's such a lack of information. Like it's changing now as more and more people come and they share things and there's more blogs writing about how to do stuff, and so it's getting
Yeah.
easier. But especially in the beginning, like I was a backpacker, so I don't give a shit, I'll show up and just figure things out. But like
Yeah.
if my parents were to go, I wouldn't tell them to go independently. I'd be like, you should hire a guide and have them figure things out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
makes
that,
sense. Yeah.
then that's what I was also going to ask. Like, do you think Pakistan now, perhaps, so your parents are a great example of not people who are roughing it out and just willing to take whatever. Do you think like it's going towards the path where it can be just another place that people go to? Or is it still firmly in the adventure tourism category?
It's getting there.
Sure.
Like there's now like definitely more places to stay where like an older, more like comfort desirous traveler could go and like not be like, what the fuck am I paying this money for? As opposed to before when it was like you just have to pay like 200 euros a night for hotel one and you don't know why, and it's in a shit location. Like now there's like the boutique guest houses and like whatever glamping. I haven't actually been glamping, but I know there's
There
a
is
thing
glamping.
somewhere. There is glamp Pakistan somewhere.
I saw on
That's
Instagram.
yeah, there's like the camping pods and stuff. So like it's definitely getting easier. I think that there's still a lot of challenges if you aren't willing to rough it out. And I think there's still a lot of issues about value for money because a lot of the places accommodation can be quite expensive in Pakistan once you get to like the mid-range or upper levels, and in some places you get good quality, and then in a lot of places it's like crap compared to what you have internationally. Like in Thailand, if you paid $30 you can have like a really comfy room, it's super clean, you have a shower, TV, maybe a view. And then in Pakistan, if you pay $50 or $60 you have like a crumbling PTDC room with some like really creepy helper who like walks in without knocking and is like, what do you want? And then he like doesn't actually know like what you're saying to him, and then like they're bothering you at weird times of the day, and the electricity doesn't always work, and like the shower might work and it might not work, and the toilet might have been cleaned or it might not have been cleaned. And so like that still has to be worked out.
And Thailand's a great example of like a mature tourist location. Like for decades they've been, you know, firmly established. Okay.
Like Thailand is like peak what tourism can be. Like I think the goal with tourism should be, if someone shows up and they're a total idiot and they fall out of the plane, will they get screwed or not? And like if the answer is no, you're doing something right. And like people whenever I say that, people are like, yeah, but like it's tourist responsibility to do stuff and blah, blah, blah. And like it is,
sure.
but also you have to assume that these people are going to do that because they're already doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That
you have
is
to
so
design
true.
for the lowest common denominator.
Exactly.
And if you can take care of them, you have it all set. And so right now, if you fell out of a plane into Pakistan with nothing but like your Hawaiian shirt and shorts, you're going to have like a mullah screaming at you within like 2 hours. You're going to be taken to a hotel that like may or may not be like meeting your hygiene standards. And you're probably going to be like sick from the food in 2 seconds if you have no idea what's going on. And so
okay, that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's like fine, like not every country can be Thailand. It's okay. It's just about acknowledging like what is still a concern point.
I think the two very important things I had at the end, sort of inside jokes. Have you been to Switzerland?
Yes, briefly, but not briefly.
2-hour mountains compared to Switzerland. Because whenever anyone talks about Pakistan's north, they're like, why would you go to Switzerland when you have this?
I hate it when people do that. It's the Switzerland of Pakistan.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys have higher mountains. You don't have to compare. Your mountains are nicer than their mountains.
Okay, they're nicer.
The mountains are nicer. The infrastructure is definitely not nicer. I laugh every time I hear that, partially because doing that is unfair. And second of all, because Switzerland is like one of the most organized freaking countries on the face of the freaking
stereotypically.
Like, literally everything in Switzerland works perfectly.
They make watches.
That's why it looks like a postcard. Exactly. They are just one gigantic ticking mountainous watch.
Yeah.
If you are late by 5 seconds, people are like, I really like that. And so when people compare Pakistan to Switzerland, it's like, oh my God, if only you knew how wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
But the mountains are nicer.
Okay. So give and take. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was this other picture that you put out, and I had like this super slim screenshot of boys and girls hanging out in a mall in Lahore, and the ending was, "This is a developing country." On Twitter, everyone is like, "Is this the Islamic Republic of Pakistan?" Whenever anything happens, was that? I don't know. I mean, you've been there so long, so you're used to it. Are people surprised still that Pakistan isn't like, Taliban controlled or something like they were expecting it to be?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. I mean, like people who follow travel influencers, like they're starting to learn. It's becoming like normalized, but I have plenty of like non-travel savvy people who are like, you can go there. Whenever I like see family now, they're like, so how are your travels in the Middle East going? It's like,
Middle East, oh yeah.
It's not a thing. They're like, do you have to wear like burqa and stuff? It's like, no. And so like that perception is still there. And then like people still like assume everything is going to be like donkey carts and like people praying at like mud brick mosques or whatever people think happens. So the perception is still there. But
Okay. I had this really weird conversation. I have some family in Iowa, and so to go there, you fly into Chicago and then you take like this shuttle or whatever to Iowa. So it was me.
It's like amazingly connected.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's direct from O'Hare.
That's so civilized. I didn't expect that.
So the guy is driving me over. I don't remember. This is probably Obama time. Has to be Obama times. Because his major concern was about his guns being taken away. And the lady in the back was obviously American. She was getting off halfway, and I was not American. So they're just talking about it, blah blah blah, and she's being like super hilariously sarcastic. She's like, "What are you gonna do with your gun? You're gonna shoot yourself, etc., etc." And he's like, "No, I have to protect myself." Blah blah blah. So then they're like, "Where are you from? Where?" And she's like, "Oh, I live here." And then they ask, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Pakistan." And I remember that lady very obviously is like, "Oh." And she said nothing the whole time. But then the guy starts talking again, and he's like, guns, this, that, security, and now he's trying to find common ground. And he wasn't like a nice guy. He was super chill. He's like, like you must understand, because like beheadings and stuff, I was like, beheadings? We don't have those like just on a Tuesday.
You're like, oh yeah, my uncle in the tribal belt supplied me with arms on a regular basis.
It was such a weird experience. And then after that, like she got off halfway because that's where she lived. And then when I was getting off, by that time we were talking about kung fu movies. And I was like, I think I've built a bridge here of some sort. He was like, yeah, you should watch this movie, Raid. It's by this Indonesian. I was like, dude, you should watch it. It's an Australian director. It's a martial arts movie. And yeah, and I'll go sort out the beheadings. All right, bye. But yeah, that's all he knew. Oh, we went to Thailand in 2012 and we were on the beach.
Yeah.
And they were doing the parasailing thing. Some guy wanted to do it. And he's like, where are you from? And we're like, Pakistan. It's like, oh, where's your gun? I was like, what the fuck, man? You live on the beach. You're giving me shit. But that was the image. But
about traveling to the US, I have a question for Alex.
Oh, reverse.
So we talked about like at the beginning of our talk how everything in Pakistan, you have to show the real picture. You can't just walk into every city and just roam around alone. What's like one place in the US you wouldn't want like a South Asian tourist just walk around alone? Is there such a thing?
Yeah.
Not safe for...
Oh, no. I mean, not safe for whom? Yeah, there's plenty of extremely poor neighborhoods in the US where if you're a tourist walking around with your camera, you're probably going to get mugged or possibly worse.
Yeah.
There are plenty of places in the US that are like hidden from people's view near like chemical plants and stuff where people just have like crazy amounts of cancer, and the US just like pretends they don't exist and assumes that if they all die, nothing will happen. And so those are all like super poor, fucked up neighborhoods. There are plenty of places in the US where people have lots of guns. There are places in the US where segregation is still a thing. In like the deep South, people will deny non-white people service still. And so not everywhere, obviously, but there are definitely places where the more colored you are, the less people are going to help you. So good job, America. So
Rizwan appears to be stuck. Oh, he's back now. Okay. Did you get all of that, Rizwan?
Sorry, I missed it. Yeah.
So basically, don't show up with a beard and a tan in specific parts.
So fair and lovely, or a glow and
fair and lovely for days. Glow and lovely is glow and lovely.
Sorry.
Glow and lovely.
But and we can't shave our beards because we're too attached to them, or they're attached to us. We'll dye them.
You just have to have like a super hipster haircut, and then it's okay. If you just get like kind of like what you have already, Rizwan, but make sure it's like mad short on the sides. So you can
the alt-right haircut.
Something and just like really have it gelled off to the side.
Yeah. I think, Alex, we've taken up a lot of your time. I think that's everything I had in my extremely overcomplicated agenda. Is there anything you felt that you wanted to talk about that I haven't covered or missed or whatever? You're fine.
I mean, I could mention Kofi for like the 8th time, I guess.
No, I
but
think we're
I
fine.
feel like that would be depressing. So no, that's it.
Okay,
I'm done.
great.
But you should give a message to our people in Urdu.
The youth. No, don't do that.
Oh.
She's spoken surprising amount.
I said something. I've been taking Urdu classes in lockdown, so maybe I know
So
something.
you're coming
My
back.
accent's really bad, huh?
You're planning.
We've been taking English classes.
My God, your English is so good for a person. Wow, you look so exotic, but your accent is amazing. I think that's like what Americans are supposed to say to that.
That's a lot of my life. But okay. I think Rizwan, anything you wanted to mention, or we good?
We're good.
It's a very confrontational ending. Are you good? You good?
Are you fine? Do you have any patches?
Are we good?
Hi, I wish for world peace for Pakistan, and I think it could
Yeah.
be the world's #1 tourism destination.
And on that note, that's going to be the trailer.
No. You guys
Yeah.
Oh, man,
So positive image only. Thank you very much for
positive image only. Y'all
thank
are
you for
great.
making time. This is
Being
a bit
hospitable and
more.
giving me everything.
Oh yeah, sure.
Please invite me to your homes and give me your firstborns. And
So if you come to
patrons.
Ireland, you can come to my house. That's I'll
If
continue.
I want to go even colder, sadder
Yeah.
in the world, I can go to
Yeah,
Ireland.
yeah. There's no sun here for weeks.
There's no sun in Belgium either. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Oh,
you
it's like kind of the same. You just have more like green and sheep and nice.
yeah,
people.
so many sheep. Alex, thank you very much for coming. Rizwan, thank you for always being here.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for watching. There's links below. New
Somewhere
thing.
down.
This is probably going to be the second week, but we have a Patreon. So when I used to say send money, now it's real. So send money.
Send him money.
Yeah,
Give him
and-
your funds. Content creators is actually a thing, non-sarcastic.
Yeah, it takes weeks to do, like not weeks, hours to
Yeah.
do this.
He just had to sit and talk to me for an hour and a half, and now he has to go for an hour and a half or more to edit it. So
or more.
y'all are leeching and not watching enough
Yeah.
ads. Hey,
That's a bit more confrontational than I would have liked, but I
come on,
support
for a
it.
confrontational end. I have a Patreon. It's legit. People should pay. Go.
Go
So,
follow Alex everywhere online, not in real life, and read everything on her blog. That is, it's super detailed. There's just pages of stuff that I just didn't even talk about because there's just so much. Yeah, Alex, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah,
Maybe
thanks for having me.
you'll go to Pakistan again, and hopefully it'll be as good as before. Oh wow, that's the best, the best ending we could have had. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording. Bye everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.